Hi and welcome back. In this video we're going to look at how to add events to calendars. And events are simply items that are added to days or maybe at a specific time onto a calendar. The exact things that you would want a calendar for, to remind yourself of certain things that are coming up and to stay organized. So several ways to do that. If I hit this create button over here, which I rarely do, it's simply going to add an event to whatever day or time is selected. And you can see that when I do that, it opens up this little box and lets me add some information like a title, basic information, but then a lot of other things can be edited. So let's cancel that for a second. The way that I tend to work is to click on the particular day. So if I wanted to add something for the 27th, I would simply click on there and the same box would come up. But now I've picked the day. Let me cancel that for a second. If I was in a different view, say that I was in daily view, you can see that it's now the 21st. That if I were to click on a particular time slot, it would just add the time as well. So if you work in this view, you get a little more control about the time that's added automatically, although all of this is adjustable. But I wouldn't work in a view for that reason. I'd simply work in a view I was comfortable with and adjust my settings later because it's very, very simple to do. So let's go back. I'm going to click on the 27th. There's an event, and I'm going to say dinner with Joe. And if I say save, Dinner with Joe appears on my calendar. So this is the very simplest form of adding an event to a calendar. Very, very easy. Let's come and click on the 28th. I'll add another one. Dinner with Joe again. And here's where I could add a time if I wanted. Okay, so simply click on there and it pops up. I'm going to say dinner is probably something more appropriate. Let's say 7 p.m., a late-ish dinner. You'll see by default it gives you an hour. You can adjust that later. And this box right now, just so you understand it, is telling you which calendar it's going to be added to. So you can see that actually over on the left I have a whole series of calendars. So I don't have to add it to this default calendar, this Richard Ciora calendar. When I first create a Google account, whatever name I use for that account, I'm going to get a default calendar under that name. And I'm not going to get all these other calendars. But I can create those later, and then I can say which calendar that a particular event falls on. Now, why would this be important? Because you can take these calendars and you can share them with other people. So I have a personal calendar. My wife has a personal calendar and she shares that with me. We have a calendar for my daughter's events that we can both work on, so that's shared with both of us. I have various work calendars for people that I work with. If I was a softball coach, I would probably have a calendar for that. Now I can keep them all turned on. So from my perspective, I just see everything here as if it was one calendar, but I can share those other calendars only with the appropriate people. So if I am coaching with somebody else, I can share it with that person. I can also share it with all the team members or the team member parents so that they can see it. And then they don't have to worry about everything else that might be going on in my life, my work commitments, my personal commitments, my wife's personal commitments, etc. Okay, so that's why it's important to have multiple calendars. And this is simply a way you can designate which calendar this event is going to be added to so that only the people who should see it do see it. Now, I will say that that's probably the most common mistake in the beginning when you start working with multiple calendars, is not paying attention to this. So I add this to my personal calendar, which is not shared with my softball team, and therefore I wonder why they don't see it. And the reason they don't see it is that I've not added it to the correct calendar, and they don't have a view into this one. Okay, so I'm just going to say save. In subsequent videos, we're going to look at how to add more details to these things, how to edit them, how to delete them, change the date, etc.